5:30 p.m.
Well, another day, another opportunity for us to wake you up the best way we know how. This is a TV47 breakfast. How hot is your coffee? My name is Freddy Ndimuli. Karibu sana. Exactly 7 days to the much anticipated all Kalou by-elections. Mambo ni mingi, wamepelekewa hadi maili. Wanaenda kazi kufanya nini? Hakuna kufanya kibarua na pesa inakuja bure.
Imejileta kwa mlango.
Umeletewa hata gas, cooking gas.
Imagine. What a time to be an all Kaloulian. Ama all Kawot. All Kaloulian.
That's why.
Whatever it is. So goodies for the residents of Kalou this week and next week.
It is the biggest talking point today.
You know, wanataka hata campaigns ziendelee Kalou.
Yes, ziendelee. Now everyone is jealous. Everyone is wishing wewe tukue na by-election huku kwetu pia. And you look around kama kuna lake or a pond somewhere, you could benefit from a boat.
Would you get the same treatment
or
as Kalou? You know what is happening in Kalou? Me, I think it's a power struggle. Unajua, kila mtu anajaribu ku assert dominance. Hii ni yetu.
I saw someone complaining at people in Malava complaining that, hey, when they didn't see we have a river here, we could also benefit from a boat when we had by-elections. Because Malava guys did not get anything.
Wow.
They did not get much. At least in Bere, there were some goodies. Transformer hapa, pale, nini. Malava.
Hapa Imurua?
That thing.
Hapa
Imurua dikira kuna kitu alipata ya maana.
Yes, so there's something about all Kalou.
Yes, all Kaloulians. We call them that.
All Kaloulians.
Thou art lucky.
Umekapata sasa.
Thou art privileged.
World Cup?
Yes, matters. Have you even introduced yourself?
Oh, will you introduce?
Women, will you introduce?
My name is Annie Odida. This is TV47 Breakfast. Karibu sana. We are so happy to have you this morning. Weekend inakaribia. Today is pre-Friday.
Yes. Sasa, this is the quarterfinals World Cup weekend. The first one, of course, will be tonight at 11 p.m. France versus Morocco, the big one. The next one tomorrow, Spain versus Belgium. Alafu wengine watakuja baadaye, tutajua baadaye sasa. Lakini France Morocco, hiyo ni leo.
Ni leo. So 19th July ni lini?
19th
that
July,
is the end.
19th July is next Friday. That's when we'll be having the next Sunday. Yes. That's when we'll be having the finals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the final. Hey, unaona kichukua?
France.
Tuko pamoja. Tuko pamoja hapo. Karibu sana, tuangazie mengi magazeti na mengine mengi baadaye. Kwa sasa, be sure to join us through our social media pages throughout the show on TV47 Digital, on X, TV47 Kenya on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube as well. Use the hashtag TV47 Breakfast, hashtag Story Ni Yetu.
All right, before you take a look at the state of the weather, today is World Misophonia Awareness Day.
At what?
World Misophonia.
Misophonia do again.
That is one, for you. A disorder that is only recently coming to the forefront of conversation in the psychological and medical fields. Misophonia is often misunderstood and widely underdiagnosed. Sasa, a person with this disorder has decreased tolerance for certain sounds as well as the stimuli that accompanies those sounds. Sasa, for example, loud chewing. Kama una chew loudly, na mtu ana feel irritated, anaweza kuwa na misophonia.
Kwa hivyo yeye ndio mgonjwa, yeye ndio akona misophonia.
Sio wewe mwenye hakuna.
Mwenye ana chew sio yeye akona shida.
Sasa
mwenye akona shida ni mwenye ana react to my loud chew. Misophonia.
Na waache kuchew loudly sababu unapatia mtu misophonia. Let's take a look at the state of the weather. All right, let's see how the weather's looking this morning across the country. And we'll start off in Kwale County. Light rains expected today. Highs of 27 degrees. This morning is 22 degrees in Kwale. Makueni, it's a partly sunny day. 18 degrees this morning. Highs of 27 degrees. It's a partly sunny day in Kakamega. 19 degrees this morning. Highs of 28. That's as far as Kwale, Makueni, and Kakamega counties are concerned. We take a look at Kajiado. It's a partly sunny day. 15 degrees this morning, highs of 23 degrees. Kiambu, it's a partly sunny day, 14 degrees this morning, highs of 23 degrees. And finally Nairobi, 16 degrees this morning, highs of 23 degrees kama Kiambu. And that's the state of the weather.
As always, let's get some inspiration this morning with a quote of the day.
Write a story worth living. Fill it with truth, risk, and love. You're not a background character. Be your own main event.
Nasikia wewe ndo main event.
Yes.
Wacha kaa huko nyuma ya curtain.
Yeah, life ni yako. Yes, kuwa main character pia.
Oh yes.
Life yako. Let's come back and take a look at their dailies in depth.
Yeah, even before we take a look at the dailies, there's one comment that ule party leader alisema jana akiwa State House. Alisema there's too much democracy.
Yes.
Sometimes I feels like there needs to be some bit of benevolent dictatorship.
Yes. Yeah.
Coming from a pro-democracy family. Watu wamekasirika.
Yes. Kuna nyingine pia ile wa treasury alisema. For a country to move forward, there needs to be some sort of disruptions. The country needs to be disrupted a little bit. Lakini unajua watu watachukulia hiyo vipi, that statement?
Well, one of the biggest discussion points, away from all Kalou, definitely. Do we have too much democracy in Kenya? Is it becoming a problem to govern this country because of the level of democracy? What do you think? Anyway, let's take a look at the dailies this morning. We start off with the Standard. Untouchable cop, that's the front page of this paper. Apparently there's an OCS who is untouchable. A young woman is fighting for her life after she was allegedly pushed from a 6th-floor apartment in Kasarani, leaving her paralyzed. At the center of the allegations is a police officer who was demoted from OCS rank over alcoholism. 4 days later, the officer, whose whereabouts detectives know, has not been arrested, prompting fresh questions over the pace and handling of the investigation. So they have images of this officer who was demoted from the rank of OCS before this incident happened, and is seen at an entertainment spot. Anatoa moshi kweli kweli.
It's a man?
No. This is a lady.
Women anatoa moshi?
Yes.
Okay.
She was OCS Kasarani. And according to this paper, she had been demoted because of alcoholism. And she was apparently she was in a relationship with this lady, this girl who's now in hospital, who apparently fell from the 6th floor of a building. So it's one of those stories, and it's becoming rather common to see such occurrences where people fall from high-rise buildings, and you wonder, okay, can it be coincidental? What is happening? Why is it that we are now getting these accidents, so many of them? High-rise buildings have always existed.
Yeah.
Why is it happening now that people are dropping from 6th floor, 5th floor, especially after engaging in sherehe? What happens next? Yeah. So it's still being investigated, though.
Could be crime of passion?
I do not know. Yes, all those are possibilities. And I think those are some of the leads that investigators are following up. So you can read more on that story on page 4 of this paper, where they explain police officer who's under scrutiny after woman plunges from 6th floor. Na zile picha zote wanatumia za huyo askari anatoa moshi. Kwani?
Rogue police officer.
Yeah. Anyway, other stories here on the inside pages. Group wants speaker out of campaigns. We'll be discussing that. Speakers wote wawili, ule wa Senate Jeffa Kingi na National Assembly Moses Wetangula, wanasema a group has gone to court saying they should be locked out of campaigns. Yes. Other stories about university intake and enrollment. The KUCPS has placed 202,133 students into different universities. Handling of Kalou by election puts 2027 polls at risk. Wameonekana ile picha wametumia pale on page 7. Watu wa Kalou wamepewa mattresses mingi sana. And they are all branded Government of Kenya.
Yeah.
Government of Kenya distributes mattresses.
Ndio hiyo tumeona. Ni kama nimeanza sasa.
Mbona una brand? Ni kama upatikane kwa nyumba yako uko na ile
MOH. KNH.
Ama Kenyatta National Hospital bedsheet.
Yes.
So uko na mattress ya Government of Kenya. Ndio usisahau. What you're sleeping on. Who's providing the comfort for you?
Yes. Kuamka ndio upige kura.
Ukiamka hivyo unaona GOK unakumbuka we ni serikali inaleta hii raha mtamu namna hii. Internal wrangles hit opposition in push to name 2027 flag bearer. That's another story. There's a lot of back and forth, especially that's on page 9 of this paper. And on who should actually, what method should they use, the United Alternative Government, to pick their flag bearer. There's an even bigger headache. Western Kenya, Sifuna, Natembea, wameleta shida, not just on that side of the political divide, even on the Kenya Kwanza side. Everyone is wondering, and it's on the front page of one of the papers. We'll be looking at it shortly. So those are just some of the big stories. Nyuma, of course, a focus on the World Cup and the very first quarter-final match to be played later tonight. Mbappe of France versus Hakimi of Morocco. Friends off the pitch, rivals in the quarters. Tonight's match will be a repeat of the 2022 semi-final between France and Morocco. Atlas Lions are out to revenge their 2-0 defeat to Les Bleus in Qatar. Yeah, so 11 p.m. tonight, the big match. This is the only African team, Morocco, still at the World Cup. I know they're not probably the darling of the continent, but they're the only African team. Yeah. So tenda kusupport watu wengine ndio kuna mtu wetu. Anyway, that's the Standard, the bold newspaper.
All right, you got DRC, bado wako na Ebola. Yeah, the Standard has also talked about it. 521 have been killed.
Have died?
Yeah.
Wow.
Ebola. Taifa Leo, mvua ya pesa na miradi. Huku uchaguzi mdogo wa Kalou unaopangiwa kufanyika Julai tarehe 16 ukikaribia, upinzani umekita kambi eneo hilo, huku serikali ikiongeza kasi ya kuzindua miradi ya maendeleo. Miradi hiyo ni pamoja na usambazaji wa mitungi 20,000 ya gesi, matangi ya maji, magodoro, vyakula, vifaa vya kidijitali kwa shule za sekondari, msingi, pamoja na boti 2 za thamani ya shilingi milioni 5 kwa bwawa la Kiongo. Ni kampeni iliyotajwa kuwa ghali zaidi katika historia ya kaunti ya Nyandarua. Mamilioni ya fedha zatumika kushawishi wapiga kura, huku miradi ya maendeleo ikizinduliwa eneo la Kalou. Hizo vitu zote ziko katika ukurasa wa mbele ya gazeti hili. Gesi pia mmepatiwa pale. Is it 8 kg this one? 8 kg gas. Kuna blankets. Mattresses. Unalala usisahau kuamka uende upige kura.
Unaanzia kwa boat. You go fishing, you come with fish. You use the gas given to you by the government. Unachoma hiyo chakula mzuri, unakula. Unalala kwa godoro ya Government of Kenya na unajifunikia blanketi ya Government of Kenya. Kesho asubuhi ukiamka unasema siendi kazi. I have all I need.
All you need iko hapo, chakula pia uko nayo umepatiwa hapo. Pesa pia umepewa.
Hadi kuna pesa.
What an interesting time.
And you know, a lot of people in places like Kalou and Nyandarua depend on manual labor on farms.
Yes.
They don't, many of them are not really in formal employment. So you have to wake up, go do some work somewhere, get some 500 bob or something. Now, if you've already been given that 500 bob, why should you go work?
Is it okay, nilisikia mahali, iko verified, 2,000 per day.
Hii nilo wanapewa sasa.
Per day, yes. The campaigns.
By elections.
Labda mtu aliniambia alinidanganya, lakini tuambie if that is the case, na kama mattress ziko warm pia talk to us, tuambie. Tuwasikilie wivu. Vidokezo zaidi, transformer Mbeere zaondolewa. Wakazi Mbeere walio kuondolewa kwa transformer baada ya uchaguzi mdogo. Oh wow.
Zimeondolewa?
Baada ya uchaguzi mdogo wa Kalou.
No, lakini kwani watanyang'anywa magodoro?
Mattress. Unaambiwa leta hiyo mattress hapa ukuamka kwenda. Ni msimu wa kuhama vyama. Ni habari nyingine katika ukurasa wa 4. Nigeria, South Africa zarushiana makombora Nigeria yatishia kuchukua hatua iwapo raia wake wataendelea kuuawa Afrika Kusini. Hawa ni kama hawatawahi wacha vita. Nigeria and South Africa, those ones are notorious. Lamu roho juu kuhusu kiwanda kipya cha mafuta on the top strip. Ni habari nyingine katika ukurasa wa 5. Na mkosi Afrika kubanduliwa dakika za jioni pamoja na marefa wasiofaa, timu za Afrika zapoteza umakini na kufungwa kiholela. Tuko na Morocco bado kule. Yes, that's Taifa Leo.
Let's take a look at the Star. It has one of those stories that we'll be looking at. What's happening in Western Kenya. Big test for Musalia Weta. Big test for Musalia Weta in Sifuna Tawe Western Onslaught. So this combination between Sifuna and the governor from Trans Nzoia, George Natembeya, is causing sleepless nights for Moses Wetangula and Musalia Mudavadi, who have been known to be the big pins of Western Kenya politics. So there's a divide there, and this story is on page 4 and 5. Linda Mwananchi and Tawe close ranks to ring-fence vote-rich region. So Speaker Moses Wetangula and his brother, if I may call him that, Musalia Mudavadi, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, on one side, with some senior officials like Polo Tuoma, Wycliffe Oparanya, Fernandes Baraza, those governors on one side. The other side is Sifuna Natembeya, and this newfound coalition that is causing problems not just for Musalia and Weta, but also for the United Alternative Government, because now it's as if they will need to ensure that they work with these people. How they'll do that, I do not know. People like Majimbo Kalasinga on that side, Godfrey Osotsi, Jack Wamboka. This is a big discussion. We'll be having it later on with my panelists. And it's the front page of the Star. It forms a spread on page 4 and 5. Other quick highlights on the front page of this paper. Pale chini, how 2025 KCSE candidates have been placed in universities and colleges. We mentioned this in the other paper. I was looking at the Standard. Another story, after failed mediation efforts, Makto family back in court in 10 billion shilling succession battle. Yeah, familia Makto. You know Makto?
Tuambie. Tell us.
He was in Kano. He was a fixer for President Daniel Moi. And I think probably the one thing I can remember, he was a nominated MP. And he's the one who had to vacate his seat for Uhuru Kenyatta to become MP.
Wow.
For the very first time. Uhuru Kenyatta tried to get the Gatundu South seat. He went, akashindwa properly. But President Moi really wanted him in government, and you couldn't become a minister if you're not a member of parliament. So they asked Makto to resign as MP so that Uhuru Kenyatta could become a nominated MP and eventually be appointed in cabinet. Yeah, Makto. Yeah. Pale juu, Labour Court declines to stop trade union elections on Sabbath. What was funny election on Saturday? Watu wa SDA wamezusha. And trouble for aspirants as IEBC opens door to big money campaigns. Yeah, campaign financing and the caps that the IEBC is proposing. On the back page, tears of relief, they ask. Messi adds another chapter to World Cup career. Remember, Argentina is one of the 8 teams in the quarterfinals. They'll be facing who? I know they beat Egypt. They'll be facing Switzerland this weekend in the other quarterfinal. I think on Sunday in the other quarterfinal match. So at least Messi has beaten Ronaldo, at least by 1 game, and may continue to beat him further. That's the Star, fresh, independent, different. Grab yourself a copy of this paper for only 60 bob. All
right. Let's take a look at the Daily Nation now. Ex-EPRA boss tortured, workers over 96 million shillings. On Saturday, June 27, 4 employees of Tarita Group Limited gathered at the firm's offices on the 5th floor of Tarita Center in Eldoret for what they believed was a routine monthly financial meeting with their boss, former Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, that is Director General Daniel Kipto. But this was no ordinary meeting to reconcile accounts, as it turned into a harrowing ordeal of a missing cash based on their testimony and a police report. Right, this is a story on page 4 and 5. No comment. Kipto did not respond to queries about the serious allegations by 4 employees.
They say they were stripped naked. I thought I saw that somewhere. I'm not sure.
Where are they? This is a story on page 4 and 5. Yeah, you can grab a copy of the Daily Nation and and read more about it. Wacha tuangalie ndani. Employees accused former EPRA boss of torture. Yeah, that's all they say. That 4 staff members of farm associated with Mr. Kipto say that, they were stripped, beaten, and forced to transfer their properties to cover amount they were accused of stealing. Sasa kama
well, it's a serious one.
Yeah, labda walikuwa stripped, walitolewa tu shati.
Hata kama ni shati peke yake, hata kama ni socks,
they were stripped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's serious crime, you know.
Yeah. Wanasema pesa ambayo ilibiwa, it's about 96 million. Well, okay. That's sad. 9,000 varsity qualifiers shun degree for diploma certificate courses. Yeah, that is nearly 9,000 students who qualified for university admission in the 2025 KCSE examinations did not apply for placement to universities, but instead opted to pursue diploma and certificate programs. Unapata A, unaenda kufanya diploma ama certificate.
Yeah, people are opting for diplomas now. Degree not really necessary, but it's true. Diplomas are rather a bit thorough, especially if you're learning a skill. Yeah, a degree could be more theoretical.
Yeah.
So people are opting more for certificates that guarantee them a new skill.
Yeah.
Or qualifications for a new skill.
All right. Driver of historic Kamukunji rally truck dies on Sabasaba Day. Yeah, another historic event up. Very interesting story on page 2. Condolences to the family. Sasa huyu ni ile alikuwa na drive ile rally ya kina Orengo.
And that's a famous photo with Shikuku up there and Orengo with their arms held high.
That driver is dead.
That's a nice piece of journalism. They actually went and looked for the guy who drove that car.
Yeah.
No one had ever even bothered to talk about that driver. Yeah. Interesting.
Harvest time, it's raining money and goodies in all Kalou. We've talked about that. And Dangote lays the ground for region's largest oil refinery in Kenya. This is on page 12. Mnakumbuka ile siku Samia Suluhu akisema ati Rais William Ruto said there will be a refinery in Tanzania, but she wasn't consulted about it. Right. Sasa that one, because I don't know if it's because Samia Suluhu alisema hivyo, but that refinery is being built in Lamu. Will be built in Lamu. A date has been set, but President William Ruto did not reveal the date. Akiongea jana in State House. So they say Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote's plan to set up a 7,000 barrels per day oil refinery in Lamu will become Nigeria's second major petroleum investment in Kenya. Right. Yeah, President Ruto says date for groundbreaking ceremony for project in Lamu already set, but fails to disclose it. Yeah, alisema yakuwa consulted, President William Ruto akasema leta huku kwangu. Aya.
No delays.
No delays. World Cup on the back page. Today, France versus Morocco, 11 p.m. Tomorrow, Spain and Belgium, 10 p.m. Alafu Sunday, Norway, England at exactly 12 a.m. And then Argentina and Switzerland, 4 a.m. on Sunday. Yeah.
Right.
Daily Nation.
From the Star, let's take a look at the People Daily. Are Cabinet Secretaries Ruto's new campaign machine? That's a question, and it links very closely to the story we've just looked at about Kalou. We've seen quite a number of Cabinet Secretaries, even PSs.
Yeah.
Now, are the ones distributing these mattresses and boats and railway and everything else big and shiny stuff in Kalou. So the question is, are they the ones? And you know, one thing people don't understand is that there was this conflict of interest bill that was passed by Parliament, which now allows Cabinet Secretaries to take part in politics.
Yeah.
Initially, there was that debate, should they not? Now they are allowed by law. But PSs are not.
PSs?
They are not. Principal Secretaries are not allowed. It is Cabinet Secretaries who are allowed. I think I saw one PS, I think the PS for energy, distributing those gas cylinders. But he may argue he was not campaigning. He was simply rolling out a government project or program. Yeah. So that's the question. But on the People Daily, they're talking about the CSs who it would appear the president is using in his campaigns. They ask the question, are these President Ruto's new campaign machine? Hassan Joho, Alice Wahome, William Kabogo, Rebecca Miano wa tourism, Liki Nyanjui trade, Aiden Duale health, Wycliffe Oparanya cooperatives and SMEs, and Geoffrey Ruku public service. These are perhaps the most vocal on the campaign trail. Are they the new campaign machine for the president? That's the question. Inside the president's battle to reclaim Mount Kenya region is another story on page 6. Upande wa juu, rising urban population that is causing political threat in Kenya. It's all about politics on this paper. But there's one story that could be interesting to motorists. Why your next car inspection could cost 500,000 shillings in fines. Chunga sana. NTSA have actually made a lot of proposals, including instant fines. Now there's also that proposal to have vehicles inspected, including private vehicles, to inspected after certain periods, and it's mandatory. And if at all you do not comply, kuna ile pesa utapigwa faini. That's the People Daily, People and Politics. Grab yourself a copy of that as well.
All right. Business Daily, wealthy investors book 40 billion shillings gains on Nairobi's Securities Exchange rally. Bouse adds about 1.29 trillion shillings total wealth in 12 months. And bank stocks generate the largest gains for market tycoons. Yeah, the wealthy investors are here. Ho Kenyatta being one of them. That is a non-executive director, NCBA Group. Kenya's foreign investment inflows hit a record 414 billion shillings. That's another story on page 2, about 37.7% rise. On the ticker, betting firms to lose license for enticing gambling addicts. Betting firms that entice addicted punters who have sought to be banned from gambling will have their licenses revoked in a movement to tame the gambling craze. Yesterday, Business Daily bado ilikuwa ina report that now families and these betting firms can block you if you are addicted and you want to be blocked. Sasa, if you are enticing addicts, you lose your license if you're a betting firm. Government to have final say in Safaricom's new regional expansion, and pension schemes mint record 16 billion shillings from bonds shares sale. That's the Business Daily. All
right. Let's cross over to Uganda now. Take a look at what's big there. Remember, we still do not have the Daily Monitor. But we do have the New Vision. And on the front page of this paper, they're talking about malaria deaths sparking stricter school rules. So there are serious concerns by medics over rising severe cases, especially in schools. Malaria, big story on the front page. I'd seen another headline about malaria in one of our dailies, and I'm looking for it, Saisi Ioni. But for some reason, we are talking about malaria in 2026, when we should be talking about how it has been eradicated everywhere. But malaria is still a big story. So that's a big story in Uganda this morning. In Tanzania, we go straight to the New Vision. Sorry, not the New Vision, the Citizen rather. How long will businesses suffer from protest fears? Hata wale wana shida, wako na manunguniko na a bit of anxiety, especially around protests, which just like in Kenya affect them the same way, especially businesses. While the anticipated protests largely did not take place on Sabasaba, authorities deployed security personnel in major urban centers as a precaution. Such measures come with costs to taxpayers, just like in Kenya. Oh, the police blocking roads into the CBD. The same thing happening in Tanzania. If the anticipated protests, police wanakuja wanajaa kila mali, then you can't do anything. You can't even open your business. That's Mwananchi. Gazeti that's the Citizen. Gazeti la Mwananchi, ni nini mwisho wa kauli za vitisho maandamano? Ni habari ile ile. Ni swali linalogonga vichwa vya Watanzania wengi. Wachambuzi wabainisha majawabu, washauri namna ya kuondokana na mtanziko huo unaojirudia kila mara. Maandamano. Hofu haijengi uchumi, athari kwa taifa. Yeah. So fear around protests, big story, big discussion in Tanzania. Now, let's come back home and take a look at the caricatures today. Yes. And we start off with the one on the Daily Nation. Cornered to also seek power. The push by so many people pushing Edwin Sifuna to run for president. I think the latest one is by George Natembea, his newfound ally. Ule wa Trans Nzoia. Sasa Sifuna hapa has been caricatured ni kama ameshika waya ya stima. He's been cornered to also seek power. Kumbuka yule jamaa anatafuta power.
Yes.
Wa ile upande mwingine ya ODM. Hata sasa Sifuna anaambiwa hata wewe tafuta power.
Right. The Standard talks about World Cup. They call it a fair play, lakini chini ya meza. Looks like kuna some money conversations, money business inaendelea hapo chini.
Do you believe that's true? African countries have complained, including Egypt and others, that especially the refereeing at the World Cup has been a bit wanting.
I saw a video speaking about it. It's a video of some white lady of course ako huko US. Alikuwa anasema this American countries have so much advantage as compared to African countries in the World Cup. So doing 1+1 could be 2.
I think 2 of the top African nations there that have already exited were leading in their games. Some of them, I think Egypt was leading 2-0.
Yeah.
And then in the last 10 minutes they lost. And many asking, is it a coincidence or kuna kitu mahali? Yeah. Questions asked there. And I think that's what the Standard is asking.
Anasema the fee, cash? FIFA Wild Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. The cartoon on the Standard is about what's happening with the united opposition in picking their flag bearer. Kuna yule pale yako mbele ni kama Kalonzo Musyoka, telling by the hairstyle. Lakini kila mtu anakimbia, wengine wanasema wewe tumekupatia kama Justin Muturi hapo amepatia Kalonzo vidole. Alafu wale wengine wanasema hapana, wewe ngoja kwanza, you know. So big discussion, but Sifuna is there hapo nyuma. This is the second cartoon with Sifuna.
All right. Finally, the one on the People Daily, nilikuwa najaribu Google this cool. You see the way politicians and politicians versus politicians, how they're pelting stones on each other. Now, sasa ni teachers versus students. You saw that news, that story, that school in Kisii County?
In Kisii, I saw, I think it was, it's Nyabisase school.
Yeah. Sasa imekuwa teachers versus student. Walimu wote walikuwa wanarushiana mawe, wanafunzi wanarusha, kila mtu anarusha.
Hata walimu wanarusha mawe.
Ukuona mwalimu kwanza, I think he was putting on maroon trouser. Nilimuona huyo nimemark. Alikuwa anarusha mawe kweli kweli. And the students,
unaona mwalimu wa English na mathematics.
Yes.
Akirusha mawe kwa student.
Interestingly, yeye hakuwa huyo hakuwa amejifunika. Hao watoto wote walikuwa wamejifunika sura.
Mwalimu ajifuniki, anarusha tu.
Huyo nimemark. That's Stano Stake, People Daily.
All right. So for State of the Nation today, we'll be having Mwalimu Wilson Sosion. Mwalimu Wilson Sosion arushi mawe. Is a veteran educationist and also a former member of National Assembly. Dr. Peter Mbaye, Secretary Planning, DCP, Planning and Economic Affairs, will be here as well, alongside Rachel Omolo, who's a public policy and governance expert. We'll be discussing what we've just been talking about, what's happening in Western Kenya as far as politics is concerned, all Kalou, with the boats and everything, and as well as speakers of the National Assembly and the Senate. Should they be involved in campaigns, in political campaigns? And what questions do arise from that? That after the break. Before that, tuangalie mabarabara za hapa Nairobi. Traffic inakaaje this Thursday morning? All right, usual trouble spots along Thika Superhighway, pale Githurai as well, kama kawaida, that long stretch of red all the way from Githurai to Kasarani, hiyo ni kawaida. It eases off a bit after Kasarani, but then again, as you get closer to Garden City Mall, it builds up again, easing off as you get closer to Allsops. All the way to Utalii, it's green, but then once you start going up that hill on Mathare Mental Hospital hapo, unapata Pangani interchange, iko choka block at this time of day. Nothing out of the ordinary. Kiambu Road is not looking bad today. All the way, it's green at this time of day at 6:33. Let's go to the Eastern Bypass, which is another trouble spot when it comes to traffic. Utawala kama kawaida imeshikana, heading towards the airport, and also pale next to the KQ headquarters. A bit of more traffic once you get closer to the interchange with Outer Ring Road. Heading towards town from the airport on the expressway and Mombasa Road is green this morning, meaning that you can head towards the CBD quite fast this morning if you're using Mombasa Road. Jogoo Road is building up kama kawaida from that roundabout at Buruburu all the way to the Likoni Road roundabout, but then eases off after that. Very little traffic around City Stadium today. Very little traffic heading towards town around Machakos Bus Station and Mudhurwa. Even both sides of Haile Selassie Avenue between the Railways roundabout and Landis Road roundabout. Nothing much to report. You can get into town comfortably. The other side of town, Wayaki Way, green all the way past ABC Place, past Museum, National Museum of Kenya, and getting into town is easy. Ngong Road kama kawaida na tuendelea kurudia pale junction, shida zao za traffic zilitatuliwa, wako na overpass. Uliona president amekaa pale juu ya overpass akapeana interview. Hiyo imefunguliwa. Hakuna traffic hapo. Hakuna. You only get some traffic pale ukifika Prestige Plaza at that cross junction. A bit of traffic there because of the lights. After that it's smooth all the way to the city mortuary roundabout, where it's kidogo too, just some bit of traffic, but then you can head out into town very easily. So fairly easy traffic this Thursday morning, not so much. Even on Thika Road, sio mbaya sana. So do interact with us throughout this show on our social media pages, on X TV47 Digital, on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube, where we're streaming live. It is TV47 Kenya, and the hashtag to use is TV47 Breakfast, hashtag story ni yetu. You can tag us as well. My handle on X is at Freddy Ndimuli. My handle is at Annie_Dide. See you after the bit.
Dish again?
I have no idea.
The
cucumbers are there specifically for my beauty routine.
Tamulini kero umeka kwa beauty product.
Na ameenda.
Tunafaa tukuwe na logo yetu. Like, si ni brand already.
You won't entertain divas.
No. I'm not dealing with a man child.
Amazing. Nishapenda hii energy.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
My father used to tell me that our hotel is the home for travelers. I guess I forgot that. Recently, it's been more of a mirror of my own ambition. Ooh, yeah. We might fail. We will probably fail, but not for a lack of trying. So for the last time and the first time, welcome to Connect In, the best experience in Eastern Central Africa and its environs.
Saturday at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m.
This is a very serious place.
I see that.
Surely. Hey, Nyumba.
This is the place.
Just for a few days.
Rule number 2.
Kwani Google inajua maisha yangu wewe?
That's my seat.
It's a chair.
It was hers.
You're new here?
Yes.
You learned the rhythm.
This place is run by structure. Structure.
It is a system. Ni venye tu huu ni system haisikizi.
And what happens if something you haven't chosen enters your day?
I remove it.
That's not always going to be possible here.
Then you are going to have a problem.
Noted.
What are you planning? To escape from a resort?
This is not a resort, my friend. This is a storage.
Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47.
Nairobi, where the hustle never sleeps and neither do the scammers.
Link Up, we are talking about something that's affecting all of us. We are talking trust.
We're diving into the campus life.
Stay fresh, stay safe.
Stay linked up.
My father used to tell me that our hotel is the home for travelers. I guess I forgot that. Recently, it's been more of a mirror of my own ambition. We might fail. We will probably fail, but not for a lack of trying. So for the last time and the first time, welcome to Connect In, the best experience in Eastern Central Africa and its environs.
It's a very serious place.
I see that.
Surely. Hey, nyumba.
This is the place.
Just for a few days.
Rule number 2.
Kwani Google inajua maisha yangu wewe?
That's my seat.
It's a chair.
It was hers.
You know here?
Yes.
You learn the rhythm.
This place is run by structure. Structure.
It is a system. Ni venye tu ni system haisikizi.
And what happens if something you haven't chosen enters your day?
Then remove it.
That's not always going to be possible here.
Then you are going to have a problem.
Noted.
What are you planning? To escape from a resort?
This is not a resort, my friend. This is a storage.
You have to be very careful. Fake money can kill business.
Na leo mko rada yangu.
Small money, kapesa kadogo, big behavior.
I only have big notes.
Alikuwa anatafuta courage.
Yaani nafaje kutengeneza kachumbari na manyanya zinakaa hivi? Ona kiki ni kama kiwaru.
Hiyo inaitwa commitment to the lie. Amejicommit.
Ndio hiyo. Mpatie.
Unajua kama una mtu kitu, hata tu salamu ya kawaida inakaa kama reminder.
Habari yako?
Sintalipa kesho.
Kesho gani when?
Si kesho as in kesho ya tomorrow.
Your turn. Mzee ni budi nikamchoka.
Ni budi ni madeni.
Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m.
You have to be very careful. Fake money can kill business.
Na leo mko rada yangu.
Small money, kapesa kadogo, big behavior.
I only have big notes.
Alikuwa anatafuta courage.
Yaani nafaje kutengeneza kachumbari na manyanya zinakaa hivi? Ona kiki ni kama kiwaru.
Hiyo inaitwa commitment to the lie. Amejicommit.
Ndio hiyo. Mpatie.
Unajua kama una mtu kitu, hata tu salamu ya kawaida inakaa kama reminder.
Habari yako?
Sintalipa kesho.
Kesho gani when?
Si kesho as in kesho ya tomorrow.
Your turn. Mzee ni budi nikamchoka.
Ni budi ni madeni.
Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on TV 47. Sundays at 8:30 p.m.
Good morning.
You have my rent?
Leo jioni kama tutakuwa tumelipa rent, nauza hii simu yako.
Hamna pesa.
Yes, welcome back and good morning once again. This is TV47 Breakfast. My name is Freddie Ndimuli. This is a State of the Nation where we discuss the biggest discussions, the main talking points in Kenya and beyond. Today, of course, being exactly 1 week before the Kalou by-elections, that will be one of the biggest discussions. Another thing we'll be discussing is the question of whether or not speakers of the Houses of Parliament should be campaigning. And closely linked to that, because Moses Wetangula is there, what happens with Western Kenyan politics? We'll be looking at that with this panel. Dr. Peter Mbai, Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs at DCP. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Allow me to skip Madam Rachel and introduce Mwalimu Wilson Sosion, who is a veteran educationist and also a former member of the National Assembly. And Rachel Omolo, Public Policy and Governance Expert. Karibu sana.
Thank you, dear.
The reason why I've introduced you as the last is because I'd really want to understand something that your party leader said yesterday while at State House. This is what Dr. Oburu Oginga had to say about how Kenya should be governed.
The responsibility of developing your country is yours and yours alone. And therefore, Your Excellency, this idea is very transformative, just like the other ideas we have been toying around with, like this affordable housing. We have been in government and finance. We tried to move, but private interests around who want to benefit from small infrastructure which does not move the country anywhere, always come in to put pressure on government not to move. And sometimes then there is too much democracy. There should be some little benevolent dictatorship so that some things can move. Huh? Mr. President, I don't want to say that you should be a dictator. I'm not saying that.
Too much democracy. That's the party leader of the Orange Democratic Movement, party that you belong to, Rachel. Too much democracy?
Thank you, Fred, and good morning to our viewers. Too much democracy it is. And I think many a times, including the panelists here, have spoken to this, that we are misusing the Constitution. And I think that's what the party leader is trying to talk to, that we don't need to look at democracy as freedom to do anything that we want, to always push the government to do certain things just because we think that is what democracy speaks about. And there's nothing wrong with benevolent dictatorship.
Wow.
It is also a form of leadership.
This is what the audience stands
just listen to me. It has worked somewhere. It may not work for Kenya. It doesn't mean it's not a form of leadership. You get it? So in our context where Dr. Oburu Oginga was talking about is, if you look at where Kenya is today, you look at how there are memes about the president and other leaders, and I don't think that is where we want our country to go, that direction, that we are losing our social fabric just because of democracy, that we have freedom, that we can do whatever we want to do at whatever point we want to do it. I think we really need to relook at Chapter 4 of the Constitution.
Do we need to relook at the Orange Democratic Movement as well, the formation of which really pushed the issue of democracy? If we say now, you are part of the parties that have pushed for democracy.
Yes, we have pushed for democracy.
Are you saying that some of those things you fought for are in excess now?
I'm not saying they're in excess, but let us look at Chapter 4 of the Constitution, where it's the Bill of Rights, and people do not understand that where your right ends, that is where mine begins. And so we want to push whatever right we want to push forth.
Okay.
And speak like though your right is not as important as mine. And I think that's the context in which the party leader was talking.
So we could say that officially, as a party leader of ODM says, ODM is now pushing for a benevolent dictatorship.
I think he clarified.
No, he said, I'm not asking you to be a dictator.
And that's why I say with a disclaimer that there are places where that can apply. You get it? And there are places that it doesn't just
Was it
apply.
a slip of the tongue?
It
Rachel.
could be a slip of the tongue, but at the same time, and I'm repeating, there are places that has worked.
Okay.
It may not work in our context.
Okay.
You get it? Yes.
Do you believe that this was a slip? And I don't want to dwell on this too much, but do you think there was a simple...
It's important because it's about the style of leadership. And what Oburu Odinga was referring to is that in as much as we are a democracy and you are a democratic leader, then you must be firm and resolute in what you do. By cracking a joke that be some benevolent dictatorship, I think you don't take the interpretation to literally mean that we now shift from being a democracy to some autocracy.
It was a joke.
I think you should read the the meaning and what Oburu was talking about. And I think he was telling the president, and I agree, we are a democracy. But being a democracy does not mean we can have wobbling leadership.
Would you say the same if someone else was president?
Eh?
Would you say the same if someone else was president and not William Ruto?
Anyone else in leadership, not only...
We should go for a benevolent dictatorship.
In democracy, no, apana. It's not about that. It's not about benevolent dictatorship. That was just an imagery used by Oburu Odinga, a firm Democrat. And that you, as a leader, you must be firm and resolute in what you do, which the president is.
Within the confines of democracy.
Within the confines, the four corners of democracy. Okay. Four corners of democracy will keep you within one style of leadership, that you are democratic, but firm and resolute and clear in what you do. What you do is what has been approved.
Okay.
If people approve a policy, you don't need to wobble about implementing that policy.
If there's anything that is wobbly, is being the party leader of Orange Democratic Movement and talking about dictatorship in any form as something you would espouse. Dr. Mbai, a slip of the tongue?
No, there's nothing like slip of the tongue. Dr. Oburu is an elder, and we are taught to respect elders. And I want to say that always, because it's good to respect elders, despite whether you agree with them or not. But as a student of politics and leadership in this country, it's very unfortunate, extremely sad that somebody who is carrying the legacy of Raila Odinga can say something like that. It's unfortunate. I think Dr. Oburu Odinga never thought he would have all these trappings of power and money at his disposal, So he's getting carried away. That's what has happened. He's getting carried away. There's nobody who can talk. And by the way, telling that to President Ruto, you are adding fuel to somebody who is already thinking that way. That's what he has been thinking, that he was sent by God, to come to us and deliver us from our trouble. So now when you go and begin talking that, whether it was a script, because a lot of things that happen in State House, you sit first for like 2 hours, and you are taken through what you should say when you stand there. The president is very good at that, of course. So you're telling somebody who is already thinking, this is what I should do. For you to move this country to whatever, that 40 years and all these kind of things. That's what they should do. But I can tell you this. If there's one more reason why we should wake up in the morning next year, one more reason why we should wake up in the morning and clear that kind of thinking, even that route, we cannot fight for 20 years for a constitution, then come and have imperial presidency towards the route of dictatorship. Yes, and unfortunately, Fred, anything you hear around leadership, I can tell you that it is something scripted.
There's no coincidence.
No. When president says in 20 years I want to see Kenya, who are you in 20 years? I mean, when you say in 20 years you want to see Kenya, like who? I mean, you do your one term, you go. We have to fight very hard for one thing.
Okay.
Fred, restoration of the rule of law and respect to the constitution next year. Yeah. That is one of the things that will be on the ballot.
As we marked Sabasaba, it was a reminder of the push for multi-party democracy. The very first party we had was Forum for Restoration of Democracy. All other parties have the D in them, most other parties, because of democracy, including UDA, ODM, and DCP. The party leader of ODM says sometimes it feels like there's too much democracy. Yeah. Should it be a big deal? Anyway, it's a conversation that we'll talk about another day. Talking about democracy and matters elections, I now want us to move to Ol Kalou. It's exactly 7 days to the much anticipated by-election. It is there on the front page of Taifa Leo. Mvua ya pesa na miradi. Watu wa Ol Kalou hawajajionea vile wamejionea wakati huu. Government branded mattresses, 3 boats for a dam, food, cooking gas, blankets, and money. Mamilioni ya fedha zatumika kushawishi wapiga kura, huku miradi ya maendeleo ikizinduliwa eneo la Ol Kalou. Huku uchaguzi mdogo Ol Kalou unaopangiwa kufanyika Julai 16, ikiwa ni Alhamisi wiki ijayo, ukikaribia, upinzani umekita kambi eneo hilo, huku serikali ikiongeza kiasi ya kuzindua miradi ya maendeleo. Miradi hiyo ni pamoja na usambazaji wa mitungi 20,000 ya gesi, matangi ya maji, magodoro, vyakula, vifaa vya kidijitali kwa shule za sekondari msingi, pamoja na boti 2 za thamani ya milioni 5 kwa bawa la Wakiongo. ni kampeni iliyotajwa kuwa ghali zaidi katika historia ya kaunti ya Nyandarua. Hawajajionea maneno kama haya. Rachel, there's a very thin line between rolling out government programs and enticing voters weeks to a by-election, weeks to a very crucial and very decisive by-election. Where do you think this borders? Should we be concerned about voter bribery in such an instance?
I think we need to look at development and politics, and inherently development is just politics. And if you look at the government policies, the government decisions that they make, be it development, distribution of resources, and even the structure of government itself. And I'm not talking here as a politician, so that we get it very clear. What is it that we should expect from the government during this period? And election does not stop government from exercising its mandate when it comes to development, when it comes to what they need to do. Mm-hmm. What we need to ask ourselves, are they bribing voters in the name of bringing development, or this is the mandate of the government to give development to all Kalou people, to give development to Madira people, to Rarieda people, and to Bondo and the like? So seeing a lot of resources going towards all Kalou, for me, is it within what the government had purpose to do during this period? Or is it because of the by-election, that's why they are wooing voters with a lot of goodies? We are seeing so much is happening within all Kalou. But one, it is the mandate of the government to give development to the entire nation, not just all Kalou alone. And if some of these things are happening at the same time during the by-election, we shouldn't entirely look at it like the government is doing this now to woo voters. One, that's why I started by saying a disclaimer that is this what they had planned to do? Of course, some are questionable. That is the truth. Like possibly the distribution of gas and such like stuff.
Mattresses, blankets.
We need to know why were the mattresses and the mattress and what?
Blankets.
And blankets being distributed. Are they in need of that? Or why are they giving it like though there's some sort of a need for refugee camp within all Kalou? You get it? So I don't want to look at it like all Kalou people do not need what the government has given them.
Is there a possibility that this could border on voter bribery? That's a question.
Yes, it could border on voter bribery if looked at it in the context of when it is happening, but not why it is happening. Because those are Kenyans too.
Yes.
And they deserve development. They deserve such things. If the government is giving them out, they deserve them. But then the timing maybe is what is wrong. And that's why Kenyans are looking at it like, why are you doing it now? Are you bribing voters to vote for DCP, to vote for UDA candidate? Yes. Or if it is the DCP doing the same thing, are we going to say they are also bribing voters?
As a public policy and governance expert, if at all this is voter bribery, should it be investigated? Because people are talking about it. Voter bribery is one of those election offenses.
It is.
That should even disqualify a candidate.
A candidate, absolutely. And it is the role of IBC to look into this issue. Are they bribing voters? That's what I'm saying. Are they bribing voters, or are they bringing real development? Do they need these things?
Government-branded mattresses.
Government-branded mattresses. It is the duty of the government to give development to their people. And that's why I'm asking, do all Kalou people need mattresses at this point? Is there a flooding area, for example? So why are they being given that? And if this borders, then ultimately, I mean, IBC should take a charge and disqualify the candidate, because that is wrong. What precedent are we setting? Are we going to see similar development being taken if it is for bribing voters? Then are we going to see similar development sent to any other area if there is any by-election that is going to occur? So let us not just look at it like because there is a UDA candidate, then the government should not support all Kalou people. But if they are doing this with the intent of bribing the voters just because of the upcoming by-election, then ultimately the candidate should be disqualified.
The government would have done this any other time.
So I'm asking myself, why disqualify the candidate? He's not the one bribing. It is the party or the government for that matter. So why would you want to? Why do you want to penalize me? I'm not the one bribing candidates.
Okay.
So I think what is happening in Kalou is setting. If it is because of the by-election, then it's setting a very wrong precedent in this country, really. And if you look at what has been going on, even within the social media, and where people are now saying, should we cause a by-election within our constituencies for us to see the kind of development that we are seeing? And so it's something that should worry even the president. It's something that should worry IBC, because if we have not seen power, for example, for as long as God knows how many years, we have not seen areas where we have issues within the lake, or we have issues within the dams, and we are now seeing even boats being dished out. You see, whereas there are places that those things are actually needed, then we are setting a very wrong precedent. And some Kenyans, as they are saying, then let us cause a what? Let us cause a by-election. Then let us see if the same shall be given
so that
to
you can
us.
receive
So
mattresses
it
and
is wrong.
votes.
It is wrong. Yeah.
Bwana Sosion, what's your perception of this?
Yes, I think the Kalou elections and government programs being upscaled should have no link, and it is miles and kilometers away from any act of bribery. It is not bribery. What government is doing is not talking about its development pillars, but it is actualizing the development pillars and programs, and it is not limited. The government is alive, it is in place, it is in office, and it is engaged in implementing those programs at Kalou. And if, of course, you talk of a university being established, that has been in the pipeline, it's being done. If you talk of opening up the meter gauge all the way to Nyahururu, that is part of the program of strengthening infrastructure and transport, knowing that Nyandarua is an agriculture-rich country, rich in very many agricultural products like high-quality potatoes, milk, and the rest. And therefore, that railway line is critical. And many more being done by
I'm waiting for you
the
to get to
various
the part for mattresses and blankets and which government program, development program this is, because we've never heard of this. Mattresses and such like things, we usually see them when government is responding to a disaster somewhere and trying to make people a bit comfortable in a
whatever the components, whether it's mattresses, even gas, we took of even bringing down the cost of gas and encouraging Kenyans to shift from using firewood so that we can conserve our environment and use other alternative sources of energy is part of our intervention and programs. If you go read the master plan of government and the various investment programs of government, you will eventually have no reason to argue. The thing is, government is working in Kalou. That's a fact.
Government issued mattresses and
that is one. Two, Kalou seat will be taken by UDA.
No, we'll come to that, Bwana Sosion. We'll come to that. We'll come to that about prediction about next week.
Fact.
And I think it's timely. We'll come to that.
Electoral laws have not been violated.
I'm looking for the justification
electoral laws have
for the
not
government
been
of Kenya to respond to the people of Kalou constituency with government-issued mattresses and blankets as a development policy agenda. That's what I need, because we are looking at the possibility that this borders on voter bribery. What are the mattresses and blankets?
By the time you take a mattress and a blanket, it means there must be identified need by that particular ministry. It just can't be taken from the blues for the sake of it. So these are government programs being implemented.
Okay.
And those resources belong to the people of Kalou. They are taxpayers. And therefore, when government is implementing programs within the framework of the budget and planning, and of course within the pillars of Kenya Kwanza, there's nothing wrong.
Yes.
So the issue is all Kalou people will vote on 16
and they'll
vote freely and independently, and UDA will carry the day. That's a fact.
I know, Dr. Peter Mbai, you've been to Kalou in the recent past, campaigning for DCP, your candidate there. Is there a real need for mattresses and blankets there at this point? Probably there is an emergency that this administration is responding to.
Thank you. First of all, allow me for just 10 seconds to offer my condolences to the family of Julius Maina Kago. Is a driver who was driving that pickup on 7th of July 1990. That pickup on Sabasaba Day. Okay. That was driving Martin Shukuku and all these other people to Kamukunji. He listed on exactly on Sabasaba Day, the other day, 36 years later, since he drove that pickup. It's important to remember also what we would call the unsung heroes. So may his family be comforted, and may he rest in peace. Sabasaba will continue commemorating it every time. And as government, when we take over, we will not fear. We will not barricade roads. We'll allow people to come dance a bit, see, and do something, because we'll be a free government. That's important to say. Fred, if there's another reason why we have to wake up in the morning next year to send this government home, is that you elect a government instead of empowering people to go find out whether they need a mattress or a blanket, and of course, certainly not a GOK branded one. Those are many years. Remember, those years when relief food would come branded GOK. We are back there. Back long before President Mwai Kibaki became president. We are back there. We thought government would come and empower people so they know what they need. So this one is what we call tokenism, handouts. It is so painful that you treat people like in one of the most richest parts of this country, or Kalou, where actually they produce. Instead of empowering them with their potatoes, they have money in their pocket, they decide whether to buy blanket, or bed sheets, or their slippers, or those rubber shoes they were being given. That's how you empower people. You don't make people slaves, so you go there with handouts. Let me tell you, this is pure bribery. And I'm looking at, may God help us. 7 days from today.
Have you filed a formal complaint to the IBC?
No, you are filing complaint to who? What they can
to the IBC?
What can they see? We have done letters by them. We have done several letters to them on many issues around Kalou. But let me tell you, this is brazen. This is unfortunate. I cannot believe this is Kenya. And I cannot. This is the president we voted for. I can tell you. If it's something that makes me regret, especially after going to school many years, to study leadership and governance, this is completely out of place. And even politically, it's out of place. And I can tell you this, Fred. Look at these jokes. And I was telling you, look at these electricity poles. Where were they? How do you do that? Let me tell you, Kibaki will never do such a thing. Rest in peace. Emilio Mwai Kibaki. He will never do such a thing because there's a by-election. Even Uhuru Kenyatta. I mean, why can't you allow, sit somewhere as a president, Fred, whether there is a by-election or January or December, or it's raining or it's sunny, plan from Turukana to Voi Mwatate to Ajil to Luo Nyanza, just let, because you are the president. Allow things to flow. We need to see these polls tomorrow in Arieda. We need to see them everywhere. Come on. What happens to the conscience of people here, especially leadership? So let me tell you what will happen. We are praying to God one thing, Fred, that next week on Thursday, the people of Kalou will put a break in this country to the politics of bribery, to this kind of politics of improvisement. Yeah? Like, you want to make me poor so I can depend on you. Okay? This is what the by-election in Kalou next week will be about, putting a stop. That please don't come and tend to blame me for what I have. I'll give my vote to whoever I want without all this kind of drama. This is too much drama for nothing. You cannot tell me you have discovered today that there's a stadium, there's a university that needs to be some tarmac, there's a maramin of some roads. And by the way, these boats, they're likely to take them away. You know what happened in Kipipiri? And by the way, Kalou was part of the Raja Kipipiri. They will take away some of these boats. And even these gases you see there, right? I hear right now, when you bring this sort of a gas, and you understand that, Joe, you bring a company that you can, when it gets over, they are not willing to exchange this with any other, because nobody knows this company, where they came from. And I don't know, I think they manufactured in a hurry. Okay. So in a nutshell, this is unfortunate, and I can tell you we are planning and the way we are believing God. Next week, all this will put a stop, so that, because what this government is planning.
And let's talk about that now.
They do this example, so if it works, This money and bribery, they want to do it now upscaled next elections.
It's the same complaint you had after Mbere by elections, that the government spent too much money, there was a lot of bribery, and at the end, the candidate you were supporting as a united opposition ended up losing. Do you have a different strategy this time round to counter what you already knew would happen if at all that's the same allegation you had in Mbere?
Fred, let me say this, and I want to confess today, because maybe I've not done it very well before. Let me tell you, I was personally very pained by what happened in Mbere, because I was there for 2 straight weeks every day. Okay? So even today, I was pained that they stole that election, the last minute, between around 6 to 7 in the evening. I still feel pained. And I can tell you, Fred, you have asked a question. I can tell you, only a fool can repeat a mistake or subject themselves to be stolen twice. They stole Bele, they stole Marava, seriously, even killing people, Magarini, Emuru de kill. I can tell you by the grace of God, I don't like chest dumping because I'm a Christian. I can tell you we have crossed, we have sealed, deflated all those things, one by one. Like about 10 issues that they did in Mbere. We have crossed them. And they can tell you, we have also crossed the new ones they have invented, how to steal on Thursday. And by the grace of God, this time round, Fred, we are going to make sure we deliver a decisive win.
Are you promising us that on 10th of July, on 17th of July, when we wake up a day after the by-elections in Kalou, that you will not be complaining about a stolen election?
Fred, I want to say here today again, I will not come back here to this show to come and say they stole the election. We'll do whatever we must do. Okay. The people of Kalou have told us, we are going to vote. Please protect. That is the fear. Let's be very candid. The fear is, will it not be stolen? And we have told them, please, or Kalou, there's one fear as we have also. Make sure you wake up and vote. Once you vote, we have made enough issues, and we cannot discuss all of them here, but we have made it clear that everybody will vote. And please, they should be told, Ari, there is nothing like assisted voting, taking advantage. That's one they did, over 1,000 did that, which was irregular. Number 2, please, I want to tell our neighbors, neighboring counties, Nakuru, Laikipia, Moranga, Kiambu, kindly, if you are not a registered voter in Kalou, please keep off. Because even trying to go there is illegal, is immoral, unethical, unconstitutional, ungodly. So please keep to your area.
Okay.
There are people, unfortunately, there was a loophole we saw in Mbere. Some people vote, it's unfortunate because of collusion. And I want to ask IBC, we let you go in Mbere. We went to court. Whatever happened. That's a story of another day. And I want to tell our judges, please, you have a security of tenure until I think 74 years, 75. Do what is right in this country. Nobody's going to sack you. This government or the other government. So let me say this. Let me say this. We are telling people, politicians are very funny, very evil, some of them. Oh, you're paying people, telling them, no, you'll vote. Be prepared with your ID. You are going to vote in. Like now, I was told yesterday, all the uncorrected IDs in Nakuru County, they have disappeared. Where they have gone, we are still investigating. Because you cannot tell me, a week to a by-election in a neighboring place, all the uncorrected IDs in PGH in Nakuru, all public institutions have disappeared. We want to know, where are they? They just want to go and lie to people that they will go cause chaos in the line, in the queue, and demand to vote. Those are things that they used there. Of course, a lot of bribery. In a Murudi kill, on the last night, they spent 200 million. In our strongholds, 2 wards. They are planning to do 500 million on the night of Wednesday night. Each person is being targeted to be given 10,000 shillings in all Kalou. Okay, what we are saying therefore is, please, all Kalou, just ensure, after taking all these things, this is part of your money. It's unfortunate because it's coming this time. But go vote. We'll protect that vote. Okay. And the vote will be counted. And Fred will not wait for the following day. By 6 p.m., we'll announce the winner in
And
Kalou.
you promise that you will not be back here to complain about a stolen election.
I can tell you, because I know the harassment you want to take me through, Fred, no. That I will not come for this show. You look for another person. I can tell you, in eventuality, but promise me, but tell you this.
Okay. Let's
Fred, the mistake we can do is to allow another stolen election in Kalou, because therefore, it will be like they can steal next year.
Okay.
This time around, we are set, and God is with us.
Your promise is noted, and we'll take it seriously. Dr. Mbai. The People Daily talks about how President William Ruto is using CSs to campaign, and it has listed quite a number of CSs, and we do not have a physical copy, a number of CSs on the front pages. Some of these CSs, we've seen a number of CSs in Kalou as well. I think the CS in charge of roads is there. PS for energy was there. Do you still stick to the fact that this is still government programs? Everyone is sent to Kalou a week before the election?
Fred,
even as you give your prediction about what will happen next week.
Allow me just before I respond to that and just respond to some of the issues that have been raised by my brother Mbai Daktari. I think it is very wrong to allude to the fact that IBC blatantly are going to rig election by saying, and that's what he's trying to say, it is unverified, and you are publicly saying that the IDs, there is a likelihood that the IDs that are missing in the neighboring county, Nakuru, will be used in Kalou.
Outsiders voted in Bere, full stop. Outsiders voted in Bere. That's all.
But I wanted just you to tell the country, you know, those are the fears that we send before a general election like this. It brings a lot of fear to the nation.
It was a little fear in Bere.
Because you cannot say that an outsider can come and vote here if this was a polling station.
Mm-hmm.
I want to believe every voter is registered. And if you see like 10 people, really, you're claiming 1,000. 1,000 is quite a number. Remember, those are how many polling? That is a whole polling station.
Mm-hmm.
That a whole polling station with all unknown people are voting, and the locals are okay with it. I mean, what does that speak to the preparedness of IBC in any election? So I think that is so wrong, because you're sending a lot of fears to the country.
And why would you even go? And why would you go to an election that you have no confidence in? If you believe 1,000,
I'm not protecting IBC, but as a player, no, because I'm a player.
No, don't protect IBC.
No, I'm a player. But when you say that, and I'm going to vie in Bondo, then is it that people will live in Rarieda, or people will come from Alego, Usonga, or Game and come and vote? What are you trying to say?
I don't know. I don't know the point of discussion here. I'm just saying there was an anomaly in Bere which will not work in Kalou this time.
And you're alleging
we know what happened by the way.
You're alleging
that a repeat of the same will happen this time around.
I'm saying we are suspecting there are people who have been promised, given money, had deposited.
No, you talked about the IDs. It's the IDs.
Yes. I'm saying this.
Nakuru.
We are wondering why. The question is, we are investigating. And number two, it happened in Bere. And number two, also already. Now leave alone the ones who have disappeared. People have been given deposits, being promised by politicians from around the place that they will go.
These are serious allegations. Have you raised the same with the IBC?
Definitely, yes.
Okay.
They know, and we are telling them,
Rachel.
This time around, those are the rules we have sealed.
Continue.
They will not vote.
Continue, Rachel.
And you are still confident getting into the same election?
Do you know why we are confident? Because we have sealed the loophole. We know why.
So it won't happen.
Then that's okay.
It will not happen.
If it's not going to work, then those are some of the things that you need to talk to IBC about and tell them, in the case of this, these are the mitigation measures that you need to take. Because we all want verifiable and credible election, be it a by-election or a general election.
IBC have their own problems. We'll deal with it from August.
Okay.
So that fear need to be addressed in all fairness. Talking to what you're talking about the CSS, the PSS, appearing to be campaigning in Kalou. I think that's what we earlier started with, and we are seeing a lot of development going to that direction. And all the CSS or the PSS that are in Kalou even today, possibly they will be there, are going there with a development agenda, either a government program to be implemented or something to be done within Kalou. And that's why I'm asking, are these pre-planned programs? And then it just happened that the by-election is happening around the same time, or this is a way to woo voters to like the government and, quote unquote, support the government candidate. And so I want to believe that we need to separate these two things, really. That when a government does something for the people, it's because they are supposed to implement those particular programs for those particular regions, and this needs to be replicated across the country, not just for Kalou. Because when we see all these things are happening at the same time in all Kalou, and we never saw these things happening, for example, in the by-election that happened last year, let me say like the one in Homa Bay or Gunja, for example, you know, we never saw this magnitude of development going. And that's why, for me, I want to take it as these are government programs being rolled out. But again, our constitution does not allow PSS, any government official, to campaign, any civil servant to campaign. And so that is so wrong. If any of them is found campaigning for any candidate, be it a DCP candidate who is your brother, or is it a UDA candidate, it is just wrong. And that particular CS or PS should actually vacate office.
Okay. At least the conflict of interest law allows CSs to campaign, but for PSs, and we've seen quite a number in Old Kalou, what does it say? Back to the same question. There are serious questions to be asked here. If this was happening in your constituency while you're running, don't you think you would raise the same questions?
I think first, let me get back to the outrageous comments of Dr. Mbai and admitting his pain. You know, when you lose, it's painful. It comes with it.
They're yet to lose. It's a week away.
And those are political consequences when you lack strategy of winning an election. And whether you win or lose, it is determined by the voters and is determined by the agenda that is being sold to them. And so it's completely outrageous to try and accuse IEBC of stealing elections, particularly using the word stealing. We've come of age in Kenya with a robust IEBC where a vote of every voter counts, and that is known. So Mbai and team should accept that they lost fair and square in the previous by-elections in Bere, in Banisa, in Magarini, in Ugunja, in Kasipul Kapondo, in Malava, and they should prepare also to lose next week, because that is a fact. It will be counted. Now, as to whether PSS ministers are allowed to campaign, the PSS are not campaigning. They're simply executing programs of the ministries. They're actually on duty of government, even ministers. And of course, ministers, if they want to campaign, they've been allowed, because those are the political leaders of the ministries. And at the end of the day, still, if you get down to Article 38 of the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, every citizen is granted a political right, and that you cannot take it away. What is important is that let us sanitize our electoral system so that then people are able to campaign, people are able to sell their agenda. If it is government, government should be able to execute their programs, because government operation is not closed in a constituency, neither is it suspended for that period when there are campaigns. So government operations, government business cannot be interrupted because of an election. So you'll see the PSS working, you'll see the county coordinators working, you'll see all civil servants working and executing their programs. If it is about electricity, last mile connectivity, which is a major program across the country, connecting homes is a major program of the government of Kenya. You will see PS Washira executing that work as a accounting officer. And you know, when homes are connected to electricity, they will not be recalled after election. It will be a continuous thing. So these are government workers on duty. And
ukurasa wa 4 wa gazeti la Taifa Leo, transformer Mbere zaondolewa. I'm just reading from the newspaper.
No,
it's actually on the front page.
Those are newspapers. Those are newspapers. Those are stories that cannot be verified. And we don't have a tool here, Fred, to verify information that may not be accurate. And so what government officers are doing, they're implementing the program.
From Mbere who went to Kalou and confessed and said he was a witness that it was their removal.
Wakazi wa eneo bunge la Mbere North County ya Embu wamelalamikia kuondolewa kwa transformer za umeme miezi 8 tu baada ya serikali kuwaunganishia umeme kupitia mpango wa last mile connectivity na stima mashinani. Kazi wao wanasema walipata umeme kwa mara ya kwanza wakati wa uchaguzi mdogo wa Novemba.
No, those are reports that cannot be verified. But connection of last mile connectivity is a government policy that will require peers, it will require the right people. It is not tight. It's a government program that has been going on in the country. Maybe when it is intensified in that constituency during this period, it should not be seen as bribery and as what. It's intensification of the program that the people deserve. They are taxpayers and they deserve that. Even the LPG energy gas that is being distributed by National Oil Corporation is part of the program. That is the future of Kenya. Demonstrate to the people how the future should look like, how they should access services. And therefore, Fred, they should not cry foul.
Yes.
When they lose, they should prepare to concede defeat. Don't lament. Don't go around
I want us to move away from
that elections have been stolen.
Spend too much
we
time
cannot. But there's something to note. When the president was campaigning, and these are kind of things we feel very unfortunate. He promised this gas will come from 2,800 to 500 shillings. So now the point is, instead of giving this advantage, which is actually 1,500 to one constituency, just subsidize for the whole country. That's what women are saying in Kibra.
All right.
So it's all about, let me finish, Fred. It's all about the style and personality and character of the president.
Okay.
Dr. Mbai, you have chosen to be the opposition. You have chosen to be the opposition. You cannot run government.
I'm just saying.
You cannot tell government how to execute the program.
Yes. Now, there's a word I was looking for, which is important. Now, it's called impoverishment. Refers to the state or process of becoming extremely poor, or the act of making something or someone significantly worse in quality or depleted of resources. Make them poor, then when they are very poor, now you can control them. You can give them maize like chicken, and they can follow you. That's the strategy.
So who made the Kalou people poor?
No, it's the president. He's the one who saw to empower them. And then you are giving them blankets.
And as far as Kalou is concerned, let's wait for the 16th of July. It's only next week on Thursday. And Dr. Mbai has promised that there'll be no complaints after because they have strategies. Meanwhile, there are questions that will be asked.
You will be complaining.
I will not. Can I tell you what?
Yes. Mwalimu Sossion, you must agree that there are questions that may be asked
about
government involvement and government activity in and around Kalou prior to the by-election. We will leave it for the by-election itself, which falls on Thursday next week, the 16th of July. Back to other national matters. A group has actually moved to the High Court to challenge the involvement of speakers of both the National Assembly and the Senate on their involvement in politics. Should Speaker Moses Wetangula, should Speaker Amason Kingi be involved in politics, directly campaigning for the president? Let's watch this story as compiled by TV47.
A case that could set a significant legal precedent is putting the impartiality of the two heads of the country's bicameral parliament under scrutiny. Court documents cite a series of political events held between June and July, where National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula and Senate Speaker Amason Kingi are accused of urging Kenyans to support the ruling coalition.
Sisi tunasukuma gurudumu ya Ruto kwa sababu tuko partners na yeye. 2027 two term, 2032 ni sisi.
This particular petition seeks to actually put into question as to whether the parliament is indeed independent. If it is indeed independent, why do we have the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Speaker of the Senate participating in political events?
Mimi siwezi na sitarudi nyuma hapa kutafuta kiti ya useneta au ya ubunge au ya ugavana. Mimi naenda wapi?
The petitioner argues that while both speakers are entitled to hold personal political views, the constitutional offices they occupy demand neutrality and should not be used to advance partisan political interests.
It's so shameful for the National Assembly speaker to campaign in Eldoret, seeking that members of the public should vote for the president. And he's saying two-term. This cannot be acceptable.
That anyone holding public office, particularly leaders of public institutions, must respect and adhere to the Constitution and the rule of law.
The case comes amid growing scrutiny over early political campaigns in Kenya, with public officials and state officers facing criticism over political mobilization years before the next general election. Critics argue that such activities risk undermining public confidence in state institutions and raise concerns of the possible use of public resource for political purposes.
Mheshimiwa Weta, Baba wa Roma, sasa ikiwa huwezi kukubali viongozi wafike waongee na watu wa Chwele na wewe ni national leader, hiyo ni sura gani ambayo unapeana kama kiongozi?
The petition seeks orders barring Wetangula and Kingi from engaging in partisan political campaigns while serving in their respective offices. It also wants investigations by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission and the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission into the alleged violations of the Constitution and electoral laws. For TV47, I'm Linda Alela.
Yes, serious questions surrounding the obvious compromise neutrality of speakers presiding over debates in Parliament involving government, the bloodlines between the legislative and executive arms of government, questions about use of public resources, because speakers of the National Assembly and the Senate are driven around with state security as they run a different arm of government. From a governance perspective, what do you feel about this? Let me not say, because fine, there are counter arguments about freedom of association. Even the speakers have that, but shouldn't there be a level of restraint?
I think, one, I don't think if that is illegal, them campaigning, because I don't think if there's any law that bars them from campaigning. Remember, they get into office through election. They're elected by members of parliament in the first place. They're not appointed. That's one. Secondly, even if we borrow from the former speaker, I think it was called Marende, in 2013, who actually vied for gubernatorial seat while still a speaker, and we never saw what the opposition now are talking about. I'm not saying two wrongs make it right, but because there's no any legal impediment or any legal issue per se within our constitution that really bars them, not unless there is, I haven't read, that bars them from vying or campaigning. But when it's an ethical issue, when now that affects their mandate within the parliament that they serve. When now they are not, when they become partisan in making decisions within parliament, then that becomes an issue. If whatever they are doing affects their work within the confines of their role as a Speaker of National Assembly or the Senate, then that becomes an issue. But there is no law per se that stops Wetangula or Amason Kingi from spearheading government agenda or speaking on behalf of the president of the day.
How possible is it for a speaker to be impartial while presiding over parliamentary duty, while he is out there calling for the re-election of a certain individual? I'm mentioning the name of the president, because Parliament has been accused of being under the massive influence of the executive. Don't you think that there are questions to be asked there, even if just ethical?
Yes, you say the impartiality of Parliament as it is, leave alone just the Speaker. That is what Kenyans are looking for. That when you get in there, can you go there sober? When you get into Parliament, when you're making policies, you're passing bills and coming up with policies that are going to affect the running of the government, can you be sober and not look at it like, I am a pro-government person, I'm against the government of the day, because the way our constitution is, we don't really have an opposition. But we expect everyone who gets into Parliament to speak on behalf of the people, to legislate on issues that affect common mwananchi, to pass laws that will run the government as it is, and give checks to the very same government. So the impartiality of the Speaker or the members of Parliament is what Kenyans are looking into. It's not about, are you now going to stop being a member of UDA just because you're telling the president, for example, that this particular bill that you're pushing is unfriendly or is uncommon with the people, or people don't want, like the finance bill. We saw people who came out strongly and said, no, we are not going to pass this. So that is the impartiality that we want with our leaders, not just the speakers of the National Assembly, because there's no law that stops them from supporting what is good, even when you're in opposition. Because some policies are good, but then because you're in opposition and possibly your party demands that you speak against the government of the day, you're not seeing anything good in whatever the government of the day is pushing forth. So I don't want us to limit our thinking into Wetangula being the speaker, but what does the law says about being a speaker? Can you participate in politics?
But we cannot always just depend on the law. Sometimes when you said yourself, there are ethical issues.
That's what I'm
made
saying.
A comparison with Kenneth Marende.
Yes.
And he has been lauded several times for being one of the most impartial speakers of the National Assembly, despite the fact that he had been elected by the ODM party, which was not even in government.
Exactly, and that's the impartiality that we want. So when you are there, can you speak what is right by the people? Not what your political party wants or what the government of the day wants, but
what the president wants.
Or what the president wants, even for that matter. Because you are the speaker of the National Assembly, you are the speaker of the Senate. What we expect you to do, to be very impartial when executing that particular mandate.
Okay.
We don't have to see you when you go outside there now because you supported the government. You want the government to come in again because, of course, they are also protecting their own interests. That is the truth. You possibly want to still be the speaker in come 2027. So he has to speak for the party that he supports. And remember, he's in the broad-based government. But then what is unethical is when you speak with both sides of your tongue. That when you come into Senate, for example, or when you go to Parliament, for example, and then when we expect you now to stand firm on an issue, then you remember, oh, yesterday I was busy supporting the government, but this is unpopular, but it has to pass. Then that is wrong. That is unethical. And that one, of course, all of them have to be called out.
Yes. You've been a member of the National Assembly under certain speakers, and over time we've had speakers being criticized of being oftentimes pro-government. Do you see that some of this criticism is valid in some instances?
It is not valid. It's born out of ignorance. And I think we need to refresh our civic knowledge, civic education knowledge about our politics and traditions of parliament. All speakers of parliament are elected. They are elected through a political process. And upon assumption of the office of the speaker, a speaker is expected to be impartial when executing the duties within the chambers. And even a speaker does not vote on bills and motions and within the House. And whichever way that voting carries, the speaker pronounces the outcome of the voting as is. And I think Moses Wetangula and Jefferson Amason Kingi have executed that responsibility with distinction. That's a fact, within the presence and within the traditions of parliament and the expectations of what a speaker should do. Exercising their political rights is something that you cannot contemplate nor even imagine to take it away. Take that matter to court, there will be interpretations. And there are certain rights that the speakers enjoy every time, everywhere, including political rights. Don't forget that Amason Kingi was the party leader of PA. And Moses Wetangula was the party leader of Old Kenya. Was. Let me say was, because right now I am not aware about the records.
Fort Kenya.
Yes, so nominally is a leader of Fort Kenya. The other one is a leader of PA, and they are members of the broad-based arrangement. And there was a pre-election agreement that was signed, and which assigned Moses Wetangula to be the Speaker of the Senate upon Kenya Kwanza winning election, and Amason Kingi to be the Speaker of the Senate after election, which has been actualized and implemented. We are going for elections in 2027. Speaker Wetangula and Amason Kingi will be fools to sit and keep quiet at the chambers without thinking about 2027 and their future. It is pegged on re-election of the president, and therefore, for them exercising their political rights outside parliament in a decent and civilized manner and advancing the agenda of the government, of the political formation that they are part of, is not a crime. Even in the US, we saw the Speaker of Congress, Nancy Pelosi, who was a product of the Democrat, strongly defend the policies of the Democratic Party and what they believed in from the chair of the Speaker. Because when you are elected, it is a privilege given to you. And so you even exercise political rights that are in the interest of the country. So I think it is foolhardy to go back and you want to gag the Speaker of the speakers from exercising their political rights outside Parliament. That one is untenable. At the end of the day, and I can tell you for sure, as we move towards 2027, all persons within the broad-based arrangement, whether they are speakers of the National Assembly, whether they are ministers, and anybody else in government, will engage in political rights that will lead to the re-election of President William Ruto, and that is decent politics. And there is nothing wrong with it. If somebody does not like it, go and look for another country where in Utopia, where you can practice things that are not real. This is a democratic country, and political rights are political rights.
Thank you, Mwalimu. As you comment on this issue, Dr. Mbaye, I'll draw you to the front page of the Star this morning. I think we have a physical paper. Big test for Musalia and Weta in Sifuna Tawe Western onslaught. Definitely, as Mwalimu Sosion says, Speaker Wetangula, it would be difficult for him to stay out of politics, given the kind of problems he's seeing in Western Kenya, even as you comment on the validity of this challenge, on whether speakers should directly campaign for the president.
So there are a few things here very quick. One, Mwalimu Sosion, you are a very senior leader in this country that we all respect. You cannot tell us to go to another country. We are going to stay here, we'll fight here, and we are going to change this leadership next year.
No, I simply said look for a country where that is applicable.
Look here, we
where those ideas are applicable.
That direction, by the way. We cannot go.
But as long as we are a democracy,
now
democracy.
I'll tell you this, for the third time in this show, another reason we are going to vote next year, wake up in the morning, is to restore what I call respect to the independent, arms of government. Let executive respect judiciary. Let executive respect parliament. Again, the president was on record saying there must be an opposition. He said with his own mouth. Then he comes to power. The first business he does after he gets challenges to his misgovernance is try to capture parliament. Today there's no parliament, there's no opposition. It is captured. Now, let me tell you why the two speakers are on the campaign trail. They have already been put on notice to dissolve their parties by the president. So what they are trying to do is to show that we are together. Please don't ban our parties. Don't force us to merge our parties because we are still supporting you, even where we are. So they are being forced to do something very illegal. Illegal why? Let me take you back to Ole Kapalo. Because we came from somewhere. It's now we are going back. This country has been doing very well. We need somebody to take it up there and move on with it. So we are sliding back. Again, one of the issues that will be in the ballot next year is rule of law and return to proper constitutionalism. We must respect these things. So what is happening? Kaparo was a PNU speaker, if you remember. But he's one of the best remembered speakers. Because much as he is appointed or elected mainly by PNU MPs, he was very fair in that parliament. Nobody would know even whether the opposition people are not from government. Because once you become speaker, even if next year, for example, this big party we have majority of members, and we are forced to get aligned. Let me use the word aligned or come in from DCP. The moment you said there, you expect it to be very neutral. Give everybody a chance. Because you may have come from some community like we normally say, but the moment you become, for example, a commissioner of IBC, of course you come from somewhere, but you're expected now to rise above and know that you are Kenyan. So what am I saying? What they are doing is not because they like it. They have been forced. because they have been told, just like Mudavadi did, you must get off your party. The same case with Mutua. Mutua has been told, that's why you see he has been quiet completely. He has been told to dissolve, and merge with the UDA. So, but let me tell you, this is very unfair. Let me tell you, we cannot have a speaker who goes to rallies, and then, unfortunately, there's something you said very important. If it does not affect, definitely it will affect, because it is affecting already. I mean, we know that the two speakers get instructions on what to do from other powers, and then they do it. It is known. It's a common knowledge. This is not the kind of leadership we want going forward. We want a speaker of the National Assembly, a speaker of the Parliament, of Senate, who is very, very, very sober, and the parliaments should be independent. Like now, they just rubber stamps, and that is why all the reports from the Auditor General, they are gathered in dust, because there's nobody to act on them. All the ills from the control budget, from the Auditor General, they are gathered in dust. So what therefore is going to happen? Why Mudavadi is seeking to move on, especially the issue of Western? Now, there is one problem first of all. Both Musalia Mudavadi and Oparanya, they have been promised to be president in 2032. You know, they have been promised that they are going to be the next president, and so they are angling for the deputy president's position. Oparanya has been promised that position from one angle. Now, I don't know who is senior between Mudavadi and Wetangula, both of them. You know, they like working together. So I don't know how they'll be separated, how one of them has been promised deputy position. And by the way, Lecho, you know, one thing I like about for this show, you know, you're not just somebody from wherever. You are a public governance expert at the national level now here in your thinking. But Wanga has been promised that position. Joho has been told to come up, just announce it. Yeah. Now, Kidiki, that's why Professor Kidiki has been reduced to a blogger. I think he was told, you must blog for you to remain, you know, as a DP. He blogs literally, even like he blogs about Kalou, he blogs about everything else. So what am I saying? Western, this is what is going to happen. Now listen, we have Natembeya, George Natembeya. He's going to he's going to fight for his seat there. We have Marara, we have Eugene Wamarwa, we have all our team there, Boni Harware, and the entire team, including Edwin Sifuna. They are going to come together finally to be one front on what I would call united, government team. They will be one, in one or another. Forget about these issues about Natembeya saying about Wamarwa. Finally, they'll come home. A formula will be fixed. That's what we have told them. Go fix something from the counties of Western.
And that is causing problems for Wetangula?
In a big way. No, not problems. Sorry, and I'll say this out of respect. The era of Wetangula, Mudavadi, that team of Oparanya is done. Please, you cannot be there forever. You know, you must, in politics and government, Fred, you must know when to get in and the time to quit. I mean, if I recall well, Wetangula was a nominated MP in 1992. 1992, he was nominated an MP. A time comes when you feel you are done with some things. You move to some other things. That's why many politicians die in office, because you don't know when to leave. And then you struggle a lot. Or you wait until you lose the elections. So to me, the era, according to me, the era of Mudavadi and Wetangula and all that kind of thing, and their political advisor, our senior, I must say our senior, because he started trade unionism many years ago when we were still young. That generation is coming, is going like this. A new generation is coming, not only in Western, but across the country. We are going to see some new shifts of leadership.
Rachel, it is said that the kind of pressure coming from Western Kenya would not allow Wetangula to sit still. That his position as a political bigwig from that region, and what we see on the front page of the Star, is under serious threat. And therefore, even he does not really pay much attention to his job right now. The biggest is to survive as a kingpin in Western Kenya.
Is he a kingpin?
Well, he's been touted as one of the big leaders from that area.
And remember, he only comes from Bungoma, which largely supported the current government. So he's in its right to actually try to consolidate that support for the president. I don't think if what we are seeing even on the Stars is anything really to really worry people about, especially someone like Wetangula. We know the patterns of voting in Western region. ODM gets their support from Busia and Bungoma. Wetangula has the support from Busia and Kakamega, and Bungoma is for Wetangula, and the cabinet secretary Musalia Mudavadi comes from Vihiga, which is partially ODM and all manner of candidates. So I don't think if there will ever be a unity in Luya if you look at their history.
I don't think you still call it the elusive.
I don't think if it's going to start even in 2027. I don't think if that's something that Timbai should even bank on.
Even with the rise of this new names, Edwin Sifuna, George Natembeya.
Remember, it is the same Sifuna was rejected by his own people. And then he came to Nairobi. We're even daring him to go back to Bungoma. Yeah, that's true. He vied there. He vied there and by. He vied there.
So everybody has a history. Even me, many years ago,
history. And I
lost one day and I won another time. Okay. No, let's surely. You are serious.
Just listen to my trail of thought. Just listen to my trail of thought. That you cannot tell me today that because there was even a time Natembeya wanted to move from Trans Nzoia to go and vie in Bungoma. What changed? You know, so Luya unity really largely, you cannot say that Luya will follow this direction just because we are seeing new leadership coming up. We cannot say because we have Ososi, we have Sifuna, now that is the direction they are going to follow. Even if I ask you now, which political party are they driving this agenda on?
You will agree on a political party.
They don't have. They're even thinking of coming up with another political party. They cannot even support their very own within the alternative opposition. That is Eugene Wamalwa, who is not even featuring anywhere here and comes from Bungoma.
Change the fact that the leaders from Western Kenya have up till now been Moses Wetangula and Musalia Mudavadi at that rank. Is this new formation equal to the task to actually challenge the status quo?
They can challenge the status quo, but nothing much will change in the Luya unity. That is the truth.
Okay.
The Luya unity is not like the Luo unity or the Central Kenya unity. Because these are people who don't have one direction of a leader whom they follow, like we have seen in Luo Nyanza, for example, with Baba. We have seen Central Kenya, they say, we have decided as a community, this is the direction we are going to politically follow, and they do that. That cannot be spoken for about Western Kenya. We have seen Eugene Wamalwa having his own DAP party. We have seen Tim Sifuna and Ososi refusing to leave ODM. Why are they refusing to leave ODM? Because of the clout they're getting, because of the political party. So where does the unity then come in? Are they going to continue supporting the BBG by virtue of still sticking with ODM and the people who support ODM ideology? Are we going to see Team Kalasinga who coming up with a different party, as they are saying? And when are they going to form this political party? Even when they came up with the Renaissance Party through Hamisi, they were never even to follow their own young person. So what are we talking about? Young leadership cropping up within the Western region. Luya community, and that is the truth. History will judge them. They have never been together, and they are not going to start it with Sifuna as a young person.
I think we must understand our nationhood and statehood. When Moses Masika Wetangula is the Speaker of the National Assembly, then automatically he is within the map as a national leader and Speaker of the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya. The same case with Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi. He's the Prime Cabinet Secretary and Minister for Foreign Affairs for the Republic of Kenya. They are born from Western. And therefore trying to reduce them to look like they're in some shadow contestation of some leadership influence in Western is wrong. The politics of Western in terms of the elections of 2027 will be directly managed by the president, who will reach out to the people directly. And let us not expect much of the disruption of the current structure of the broad-based government that Wetangula or Mudavadi are threatened in any way. They will continue serving in the offices. But then in terms of politics of 2027, it is not Musalia or Wetangula who will be asking for votes. It is the president himself who will be seeking for votes.
And is already away from
and is already no, they are not on the ballot. Moses Wetangula will be on the ballot for the speaker when parliament is reconvened.
They were on the table when they were negotiating
Mudavadi will be up for reappointment to his prime CS after election. So what is very important in Western?
It is their positions as the highest ranking.
Let us not posture Western to look like President William Ruto will have to get votes via some people.
I'm not talking about President William Ruto. I'm talking about these two politicians, Moses Wetangula, Musalia Mudavadi, and what they're facing. They are currently the highest ranking.
There are no regional elections for a community leader of Western. It is not there, at least for now, in the Constitution. These are citizens with concrete and leadership and that they've built over time through their careers. These are very serious senior citizens of this country, and they are serving in broad-based government. And I'm not sure whether the position of the speaker will be taken for some determination by the people of Western Kenya or that of the prime seers. I think we are trying to angle politics in the wrong way. Kenyan politics have changed. We are driving issue-based politics, and Western Kenya, in terms of politics of 2027, will be about President William Ruto and how Western voters will support the president directly. So the rest are out of the picture. So what the Sefunas and the others are doing is within their democratic right. And by the end of the day, the president is connecting directly and very well with the voters, and with the broad-based arrangement and ODM dominance in Western and combination with UDA.
The question we are asking.
So that chapter is closed. Try to discuss this after 10th of August next year.
In as far as Western Kenya politics is concerned, we are asking today on our social media pages, can Mudavadi and Wetangula hold Western Kenya against Sifuna and Natembea's advancement? Can Mudavadi and Wetangula hold Western Kenya against Sifuna and Natembea? You can give us your opinion on this, even as I give my panelists a minute and a half each for your final comments. Start with you, Dr. Mbaye.
What I can tell you is that the people who say that Luhya unity is never possible, they will be shocked. There is an awakening of people who don't have those things of Bungoma, Tanzania, Vihiga versus Busia and Kakamega. I can tell you this. Because they need to be at the national stage, they cannot be where they are fragmented. So what's going to happen, whichever party they agree, it is, we will field all the governors, MPs, and all the senators and all the 2 MCs, so that they can be able to use that now to go to the national table. We did by example with DCP. We are national, but there is somewhere where we have some base. They're like, just like Kalonzo, just like Kadua City, which is coming up in Mijikenda. There's a party we are working with very soon in this time. I mean, we have a whole movement. We are partnering with Kanu and others in Rift Valley. We have people we are going to work with in Luo Nyanza properly. Parties will come there so they can be able to hold that regional base. Just like we have Fred Matiang'i in Kisii. We have DCP, of course, is in most of the Masai areas. So that I can tell you this seated here. Call him all that. People need to know when to get off, be at the backseat, begin advising the upcoming generation. I don't have a ambition myself to be a leader forever. I do my Senate Nakuru, maybe I do something else, and then after a few years, I must give way. You cannot be here 70-something years and you're still in active politics saying you want to become a ling leader. Is it a ling leader or a kingmaker or something? So what I'm telling you this, all the 5 counties, we have Masinde Muliro, right? We had Akina Shikuku. I mean, we have a history of how Western was able to work together. So all I'm saying is this, it's possible. They are going to see it. We are moving very well in the United team. By December, by January, we begin serious talks now about the lineup. So every region now is busy organizing themselves. You saw the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua in Mijikenda. I was invited to go meet the Kaya elders at the Mijikenda. These are going to roll out very well. So, and I can tell you this, some of the people here talking about broad-based and all that, you saw most of the MPs from Mount Kenya, they never voted for finance bill because the pressure is coming up from the ground. Things are going to change. I can in August. Wait for July to end. In August, a lot of shitting will happen. By December, many people talking to their broad-based, they will move to the opposition.
Okay, thank you. Rachel, a minute and a half for your final comments.
Well, thank you. Mine goes to, let me speak to the issue of the capping on the campaign, and especially for young people, women, and PWDs. I know the capping has been there.
On election financing.
On the election financing, yes. But my worry is to IBC how they are going to audit and ensure that that the capping or the ceilings that they have put, let me put for MPs, for women rep, and even up to the presidential, that it is not exceeded. Because with the trend that we are seeing, the coming up, the general election will be more of who has the largest financial muscle, and where does that leave the young people? Where will that leave the women and the PWDs? So I think they need to put a lot of structures on how they are going to ensure this is adhered to ensure that they have a level playing field for each and every candidate and anyone who would want to throw themselves in an elective position. So it's an issue of concern to everyone that yes, the capping is there. It is fairer than it was last time, but then they are not telling us how they are going to ensure that this is audited well and so that the people with the muscles may not outshine their people, because as things are, then we will likely to move from agenda or issue-based politics to now who can pull bigger crowds and facilitate well.
Thank you. Mwalimu, finally.
Kenya is already maturing very strongly on the angle of issue-based politics, which is a key pillar of Vision 2030. And those who don't believe in the mechanics and dynamics of the democratic practices that are being practiced by citizens are in for a rude shock, and they'll keep blaming the IBC, they'll keep blaming this and that. And so we are getting out of the cocoon of tribal politics, ethnicity, and we are dealing with issues. And therefore, with this, which the president has really pushed very strongly and bravely to bring a united Kenya and take Kenyans' minds to transformational focus. We've seen even establishment of National Infrastructure Fund, the Sovereign Fund, and development models that will fast-track the development of this country. These are great things for this country. And therefore, as voters of Kalou going for voting next week for their by-election, I am sure the atmosphere within Kalou is still about issue-based politics, and the people of Kalou will reject tribal incitement that we are seeing, and somebody still think we can still thrive in negative and primitive politics of tribal incitement. Kenyans are getting out of it. And I therefore wish the people of Kalou next week all the best as they cast their votes, and let the victory in Kalou be the victory for the people of Kenya. Right. That we move in on the trajectory of the transformational agenda of the country behind Asante. President William Ruto.
Thank you very much, Mwalimu Wilson Sossion. And yes, indeed, the by-elections in Kalou will take place on Thursday next week, the 16th of July. Much anticipated by-elections, a lot of discussion around it, and we'll be here to bring you all the news updates and even the results as soon as they arrive. Thank you so much, Wilson Sossion.
But make sure I'll be
by 6. No, I will share. I will be on the ground on that day. I will report to you live. What will be happening after every 1 hour?
We'll be sure to invite you.
And I will give you.
Just don't say they are bribing.
Allow me to acknowledge you for your time here. Thank you so much, Wilson Sossion, a renowned veteran teacher and educationist, and also a former member of the National Assembly. Rachel Omolo, public policy and governance expert, and Dr. Peter Mbaye, Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs at DStv. Thank you so much for your time at T47. Looking forward to having you back here so that we can discuss the by-elections and the results of the by-elections of next week in Kalou.
So don't after the break, in Kalou.
No.
Allow me to tease the following interview. After the break, we'll be looking at, we'll be talking to online drivers, or rather online taxi hailing drivers. Driven to the edge, are online drivers surviving? That's a conversation that Anno Dida will be having after the break. Do stand by for that. I'll be back later on with Man to Man. More discussions around the men, not just in Kenya, but beyond. See you later. Bye.